Her eyes saw what no one was meant to see. The night it happened, the sky above the valley was darker than coal dust, and the wind howled like a wounded coyote. I'd been living out at the Harrison Ranch for 6 months then, working as the cook and housekeeper. The place sat miles from the nearest town, tucked between dry gulches and lonely ridges, the kind of land that seemed to keep secrets buried under every inch of dirt. I remember standing on the porch that night, my apron still dusted with flour, watching the lantern lights flicker through the storm. I thought I was alone, but I wasn't. I saw it. Something I was never meant to see. Down by the stables, 2 men were arguing in low voices. One of them was Mr. Harrison himself, the ranch owner, a man known for his temper and his pride. The other was someone I didn't recognize, dressed in a long black coat. Their words carried through the wind just enough for me to catch fragments. Money, shipment, no witnesses. Then there was the glint of a revolver, and the echo of a single gunshot that split the night clean in half. The man in the coat dropped like a sack of grain. And Mr. Harrison turned, his eyes catching the lantern light meeting mine. That's when I knew my life out there would never be the same. I didn't sleep that night. The sound of that gunshot replayed in my mind until dawn, and with it came the image of his face. The way he looked when he realized I'd seen him. I tried to keep my hands busy, scrubbing the kitchen floor, churning butter, anything to drown out the guilt and fear that knotted inside me. But by morning, I wasn't the only one who noticed something wrong. Luke Sawyer, the foreman, came riding in from the lower pasture. Luke was quiet most of the time, tall, broad-shouldered, with a kind of quiet steadiness in his eyes. He'd been my friend since I first arrived at the ranch. That morning, he leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, looking at me in that way that said he already knew I was hiding something. "Clara," he said softly, "you look like you seen a ghost." I wanted to tell him. God knows I did. But the words stuck in my throat. Out here, men disappeared all the time. Run-ins with bandits, horse accidents, feuds. And a woman like me, well, a maid's word didn't mean much against a rancher's reputation. Still, Luke wouldn't let it rest. That evening, while I was fetching water from the well, he followed me out. The sun had just dipped below the hills, painting the sky in streaks of gold and violet. "Clara," he said again, "something's wrong, tell me." I looked at him then, really looked. His face was roughened by dust and sun, but his eyes were kind, steady as a mountain stream. I felt the fear in me crack a little, and before I knew it, I whispered, "I saw him, Luke. I saw Mr. Harrison shoot a man last night." He didn't move for a long time. Then he took a deep breath and said quietly, "You can't stay here." Those words hit me harder than the shot itself. The ranch had been my only home since my father passed, the only place I'd found a little peace. But deep down, I knew he was right. Mr. Harrison had already looked at me once with suspicion in his eyes. If he thought I'd talk, he wouldn't hesitate to make me disappear too. That night, Luke made a plan. We'd ride out before dawn, head toward Canyon Creek, where his cousin ran a small trading post. It was risky, but staying was worse. So I packed what little I had. A shawl, my mother's locket, and a folded letter I'd never had the courage to send. When I stepped out into the cold morning, Luke was waiting with 2 horses saddled and ready. The stars were fading, and the first pink light touched the ridge. For a moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long while, hope. But hope has a cruel way of slipping through your fingers. As we rode down the trail, a shot rang out behind us. Then another. The crack of rifles echoed across the valley. Harrison's men. Luke spurred his horse and shouted for me to ride hard. Dust flew up in golden clouds around us as we tore through the sagebrush. Bullets whistling past. I could hear my heart pounding louder than the gunfire. We reached the river at full gallop, the horses splashing through the shallows as dawn broke over the plains. By the time we made it to the other side, the riders were gone. But Luke, he'd taken a bullet through the shoulder. He wouldn't let me stop. "Keep going," he said, jaw clenched, his shirt dark with blood. "Don't let them find you, Clara." I tore a strip from my skirt and pressed it to his wound, my hands shaking. "I'm not leaving you," I told him. "Not now, not ever." We found shelter in an old line shack near the ridge, half fallen but enough to keep us hidden. I built a fire from what wood I could find and tended to him through the night. His fever burned high, but even in his pain, he smiled at me once and said, "Guess I finally gave you a reason to trust me." I laughed through my tears, brushing the hair from his forehead. "You didn't have to get shot for that, you know." 3 days later, the storm passed. Harrison's men never found us. Word spread soon after. Mr. Harrison had been arrested in town, caught trying to sell stolen goods from the railroad depot. Seems the man he killed had been part of a smuggling ring, and his secrets finally caught up with him. When the sheriff came through, Luke told him everything. He made sure my name stayed out of it. We left the valley not long after, heading west toward new country, greener pastures, cleaner air, a place where the past couldn't reach us. Luke's shoulder healed, though he still grumbled whenever rain came through. We built a small home near the foothills, just big enough for two.